Shaolin, yeah, alright. So the idea of Shaolin to me, I think is really kind of a lost art in the sense that if we take a political view of what Shaolin is, then we actually lose what the Shaolin is representing to us. And everybody seems to be saying that their art or what they do or have a political front to the art, like the mixed martial arts right now, which I think is great because it really is a conglomerate of all martial arts, which to me is really what Shaolin is supposed to represent. I think back then I was looking for Shaolin to create character and personality, and it's much more than fighting. It builds up character.
That's
So.
right.
The idea of building up character, well, what does that mean? You know, when I used to train with different schools, they would all have an agenda of what they wanted to accomplish, whatever that may be, whatever that agenda is. And it seemed to me, not in their fighting techniques, they may be very good in their fighting techniques, but it became limited. It became limited to what you really are trying to achieve. And I've always looked at the body as being a temple. And the temple representing who and what you are, an expression of the self. If you're an artist or if you create a knife, you know, like people that created, they put their part of their soul or their abilities into it. You write a book, you know, you practice your forms, whatever it may be. And to me, it's all about building up character, about becoming more, about evolving. And I can remember back in the day, you know, there was a lot of schools back then, and the schools were a lot different than they are today because now you have so many schools, they're everywhere. And there's nothing wrong with that, it depends on what you're looking for. But for me, I can remember there was a time, and I don't really remember what clicked, but I remember walking with these people that were pretty high up, and I had a lot of respect for, as Sifus. But aggressive Sifus, aggressive types. And I remember this little kid walking, you know, he had to be like maybe 10 or 12. And the one Sifu hit him on the top of the head and said, give me $1. You know, give me $1. And the kid gave him $1 and he just walked away. And I said, well, why'd you do that? He says, well, because I could do that. You know, and it was a joke. You know, it was a joke, but it was very aggressive. And it was cross-culture, you know, and all of these things that were going on. And I think that was the key for me to start thinking about what Shaolin, moving beyond the Shaolin. You know, you have the Kung Fu, which is the Kung Fu, which we discussed earlier, becomes transparent. And the Shaolin at a certain point, which comes into expression. But that could be into absolutely anything that you do. I think what and why I explored the arts was trying to get past the idea of fighting. You know, just being good at it, abilities or at your abilities to hurt someone or to protect yourself, but to build character, personality. So the real reason I worked with, I would say, the body was to elevate the mind. Now, body being brain and mind being a part of the brain. You know, like the material, the gray matter of that is, to me, all body. Body temple, self-expression. But I feel that it's giving me the ability to face certain challenges in your life. So it builds up character working with your body, not the idea of showmanship or being good at what you're doing or being to hurt another person. I looked at it as trying to discover more about the self. So Shaolin became something different to me. It became character building. It became it helped me to evolve into situations, to confront situations that I normally wouldn't be able to confront. Here's the key. I think whatever journeys everyone starts, whatever religion you believe in, whatever culture you believe in, whatever journey you begin, you have to face the hard facts at the end of that. And if you're really facing the truth, the end of that truth is not what you want to hear. And that's where the Kung Fu actually came in, or where the Shaolin started to come in. It helped me build character to be able to face the truth and still move on for it. Not to let it crush me. to realize that everything has to be about moving on. Sometimes you have to stand, you have to be able to stand and confront it. And, you know, learning different techniques and aspects of it, but standing in front of another human being and moving against them and understanding that interconnectedness between you and them. One of the things I discovered about standing in front of somebody, no matter what was going on in your life, no matter how bad it was, when you stood in front of somebody, everything blanked out. It was really, and depending on the level of student or the person you stand in front of, you know, like if you stand in front of somebody that's so-so, you're okay. If you stand in somebody that's really very unexperienced, it was easy. But then you stood in front of somebody that you knew could knock your head off. You know, and it was like, whoa. And your attention span was there. And why couldn't you take that attention span and bring it into other avenues of your life? I believe that the Shaolin for me was not a physical experience, but more of a spiritual experience. And to really be able to face the challenges of truthful answers that you've discovered about yourself. You know, that, you know, when you really confronted with something that was mind-blowing in the way that you expected on your journey a certain outcome, but that outcome didn't happen. And I believe that the Shaolin really helps you to become more character building. Like the body, the mind, the energy, the creative energy, the interconnectedness, the chi, all has to come together. So there was a certain point when the idea of Kung Fu or Shaolin started to diminish, and the idea of being replaced was the philosophical side of it. You know, giving me the strength to keep moving on with the truth to the answers that I didn't want to face, not making something up. But like when you stood in front of something and were able to face it and look it in the eyes, you were truly standing in front of it. As Nietzsche says, be careful of the demons that you cast out, because they could be the best things about you.